Thank you all for joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Joining us now, our great friend, Dr. Lamero. Dr. Lamero, good to have you with us.
Oh, it's great to be with you. I love your show. You do a great job, and I still remember that award you won a few years ago, the Marconi Award. That's not given to a lot of people.
Well, thank you. Myself and Rush Limbaugh, and occasionally they sneak Sean Hannity in.
Yeah, that's an elite group to be with.
Well, that's why we get you, the big guess.
Oh, I don't know about that,
oh,
but okay.
yes, indeed. By the way, let's start off with first, if people want your books, your blogs, the website, when they want to know about the good news in America, we always hear about the negativity. Where can they find the good news about our great country, sir?
Well, they can go to my website, greatnewsforamerica.com, greatnewsforamerica.com, and all my books, I have 5 right now selling on Amazon in both print editions and Kindle editions for those who like to read them on Kindle. And, of course, they can go to other bookstores if they want as well. Just a lot of people these days go to Amazon.
They love the Amazon.
Boy, they do.
They do. All right, let's get to it. Prediction time.
Well, and, of course, people know I do forecast models. I don't do polls. So I do not call 1,000 people and get their opinions. So my forecast models right now, 225 to 228 Republicans will win in the House, meaning the Republicans will maintain control. And in the Senate, the current forecast is for 58 to 60 Republicans. And we see, by the way, in the state of Wisconsin, the Democrat who's currently predicted to win in my forecast model is actually getting very close to break even. So that one could flip at the last minute because it's so close. So if that's true, that would be 61 Republicans in the Senate.
Now, I have to ask you about Montana. That's the closest state to us. Mitt Romney is going to roll in Utah, but what about Tester?
The Republican will win in Montana.
Wow. That would be a pretty big upset, wouldn't it?
Well, I think a lot of people didn't expect that to happen, but a lot of the other people I'm predicting too. I mean, for example, I had Heidi Heitkamp ahead early on, months ago, but Heidi Heitkamp, North Dakota, she has flipped it, and she's going to lose big time. So, things have changed. It's a dynamic race. The overall numbers haven't changed much from my forecast I made last December. My early forecast model for this election had the same results, House and Senate Republican, but the players are slightly different in that. Another one, Claire McCaskill in Missouri. Originally I had her ahead, but she's now losing. She doesn't look to me like she has any chance of winning as of today.
We've been trying to get her for years.
Really? Interesting.
Not get her, but get her out for years. You really think this time is it for her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good grief. She's got a lot of problems, too, that are dragging her down. Her husband's potential scandals, also because they're related to her in office, potentially. And then Project Veritas, did the behind-the-scenes tapes where basically they were saying that, she can't tell people in Missouri what she really feels because then she'd never get elected. That's just not the kind of tape you want to get out there, that she's hiding her true positions on policy. So, she has a few things like that are problems, but basically overall her biggest problem is that Trump swept the state of Missouri 2 years ago, and the people there are fairly conservative, and they're going to elect her opponent this time.
What do you make of the overall tenor? Now you have people on television saying this horrific tragedy in Pittsburgh has energized Democratic voters.
It's amazing what people will say. The answer is this guy was a Trump hater. He's also apparently a Jew hater and is going to be, I think he'll be convicted if he's guilty. And that's for a court of law to decide, not me, of course. But actually, this is a person who is anti-Trump. And to try to turn that around and make it that this is something that, Trump is responsible for a Trump hater who also hates Jews. I mean, Trump is the person who moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. He's the one who's been pro-Israel, a strong supporter of their freedom, and that. So, no, actually, what the effect has been is not what you just suggested in the media. The effect has been that people said the Democrats attempting to put this on Trump is absolutely absurd, and the Democrats will say anything. They're losing their credibility almost daily with these kind of statements. That's a stupid thing to say because it's so totally over the top, nobody buys it. People are not idiots. American people have a lot of common sense, and they can read through a lot of stuff that just isn't true.
Dr. Lamero joining us here. Great news for America. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. What do you make of, Dr. Lamero, we're going to give you some high-speed stuff here. Hopefully we can live up to our Marconi. Let's give you some sound. Let's give you some sound to react to. Are you ready?
Okay.
Well, sometimes sometimes the button works, sometimes it doesn't. But
that's right.
Let me try it one more time here.
If the election were held today, we would win.
What happened today that changed that?
What now I'm saying is we will win.
That's your girl, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, right. I recognize the voice. Well, what do I think of it? I think she's wrong. I think she must be reading the polls. By the way, the polls are fundamentally being run the same way they were being run 2 years ago. They typically call 1,000 people, and they superimpose those 1,000 people's answers onto it is a model. It's a model of what they think the electorate is like, okay, their definition of the electorate. But what they're not doing is they're not changing the nature of the electorate. For example, identity politics is going away, and we're moving into something I call tribal politics. And by the way, that's not my original word. That one I will give to John Zogby, who came up with the term tribal. But what I'm saying is the models you use in the polls reflect the outcome. It's that old thing about computers, garbage in, garbage out. If you're using a bad model to process your data, how can you expect good results? So therefore, the Democrats right now have themselves all pumped up like they're going to take the House, they're going to impeach Trump, they're going to have a wonderful life subpoenaing Republicans for the next 2 years. But the reality is it's just like Hillary versus Trump in 2016. They're relying on old polls. I wrote an article about forget the polls, and that day that the article came out, one of the major polls in October 2016 said Hillary was going to win by 12%. Well, guess what? It was wrong. And the polls now are wrong, too, that think that the House is going to go Democratic. So I think Pelosi is engaging in wishful thinking. She's hoping she's going to become the speaker. In reality, Jim Jordan's going to be the next speaker.
Jim Jordan, we just had him in a minute ago, but last week he was in.
Did you?
Yeah.
He's a very fine gentleman, and he'll make a great speaker. And this Congress, by the way, I didn't mention in my forecast, is not only going to be Republican, but it's going to be more conservative Republican. A lot of the establishment folks saw the handwriting on the wall and saw they can't live with being a moderate Republican, so they're not going to bother to run. And there are 45 people leaving the Congress, and a lot of them, it's because they don't fit in anymore, because the American people are more conservative than they are. Jeff Flake is a terrific example. I heard his speech on the floor of the Senate months ago. He was practically in tears that he was not going to run for re-election as senator in the state of Arizona. Why? Because he said he can't get elected because he's not conservative enough. And instead of saying, well, I guess I should be a little more conservative and represent my constituents, instead he's crying because the constituents don't agree with him. That's ridiculous. He's got the whole idea of service, government service, upside down. But now the new McSally, who's a war hero in Arizona, is going to take that seat.
Dr. Lamero joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. What about Florida?
What would you like to know?
What about the governor's race there in Florida? We hear that there's a new Obama there, and he's going to win.
No. He's a socialist, no question. He's similar to that lady in the district in New York, Ocasio-Cortez. He's a Democrat socialist, but that really means a socialist. And by the way, they shouldn't use the word Democrat because they don't agree with elections. They only agree with elections if they elect socialists. But anyway, he's going to lose. He's got several scandals now for taking essentially bribes, taking a $1,000 ticket to the famous Hamilton play, and things like that. Apparently, that he's done. I'm not an expert on scandals, but those kind of things hurt you in elections too. And just looking at the numbers, without counting his scandals, I don't think he's going to win.
Well, I don't know. You sure have so many people saying that he's the next Obama.
Yeah. Well, people say things. Talk is cheap.
I'm with you, Dr. Lamero. So you believe, again, Jim Jordan will be Speaker of the House. The Republicans will retain the House, possibly 60 seats in the Senate. Boy, if that happens, there's no stopping Donald Trump.
No, you know what? There have been about on the order of 300 conservative measures that passed the House that could not get through the Senate because they didn't have 60 votes. They didn't have enough to avoid filibustering and cutting off debate. They couldn't cut off debate and vote on those 300 measures. Those are going to all go right through easily. So the Trump agenda, which is really the American voters' agenda, is going to start sailing through Congress next year. That's why I think Trump has held off on replacing Sessions and finishing the draining of the swamp. I think the swamp is going to be drained after the election. I think he didn't want to confuse the election, accidentally get too many Democrats elected because they were going to raise, Cain if he eliminated Sessions right now. Jeff Sessions has already turned in his resignation. It's only a question of what day will Trump accept it. And I think it's going to be right after the election, sometime later this month.
Dr. Lamero, one more time, your website, sir?
Yeah, greatnewsforamerica.com. I usually write an article every Monday or Tuesday. It's a blog post, technically. And, I write a book roughly once every year or two. And I'm starting to try to decide which book will really come out next year under my name, because I've got 4 that I'd like to write, and they're all interesting, I think, from different points of view. So I have to really say I've got to only do one. So you only get to do one a year.
Dr. Lamero, always busy and always complimentary. We so appreciate you, sir.
Oh, I love your show. I love you. And God bless you and all those wonderful people in Boise.
All right, Dr. Lamero, God bless you. Take care, sir.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
You're out there bringing cowboys and Indians together. I've never seen anything like it. Why do you think you have a shot to win in blood red Idaho?
Van, I was raised by Idaho, so people understand my heritage, my legacy of leadership. They want something new that's fresh, progressive, and bold. My progressive ideas, matched with my conservative architectural framework, really attracts people on both sides of the aisle. So they're seeing a kind of leadership that no one's ever seen or heard of, and we're bringing all parties together.
But by definition...
There we have it. That is Van Jones. And by the way, this is a CNN panel. By the way, you're listening to Kevin Miller here, KIDO Talk Radio. This is like 3 Democratic governors. You have the transgendered from Vermont, Christine Halquist. You have the Democrat liberal from Texas, Lupe Valdez, and then you have Paulette Jordan on CNN. Let me just play for this one more time, because Paulette Jordan seems more competent and confident when talking to Van Jones. And you can tell that Mr. Jones, and you heard about him all the time when you listen to Glenn, who worked for Obama, not Glenn Jones. He struggles. He doesn't even know her name, but he can say Cowboys and Indians. Now, if I said Cowboys and Indians, well, that would... look, you can't even say Cowboys and Indians anymore. Not that I'm advocating that, allegedly. Let me apologize if anybody's offended by the term Cowboys and Indians, But the typical liberal double standard, let's take a listen.
What about you? You're out there bringing cowboys and Indians together. I've never seen anything like it. Why do you think you have a shot to win in Blood Red, Idaho?
You know, Van, I was raised
Blood Red, Idaho.
by Idaho, so people understand my heritage, my legacy of leadership. They want something new.
The legacy of leadership, and I'm sorry for bringing this up. I thought it'd be 70-30. I think it might be 80-20, maybe even 85-15. Any Paulette Jordan supporter, do we have any leadership? What has she done? Has she started businesses? Has she been a leader? I don't know. I don't hear of anything. Her ads haven't touted that. All she's talked about is her background and her vision and her. Again, this is just an audition for CNN. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Traffic and weather together. Our time is 8:23.
Eric Everett.
Back to the phones. JumpStatePatriot.com, the publisher of that remarkable publication, that platform. The lone conservative, Tea Party Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. I want to commend you for that great monologue you did this morning when you spoke about Governor Rauter supporting the horse racing and Medicaid expansion. You know, if this switch he has made doesn't show the people of Idaho that he is the crony Republican and left-leaning so-called conservative I've been calling him out for, I don't know what will. I actually feel vindicated. You know, he has been bamboozling the people of Idaho for 8 of the 12 years he has been in office and has shown that he is only interested in helping himself and his crony friends. I'm hoping Brad Little does not follow in his footsteps and will actually have some concern for the taxpayers and not his campaign contributors. I do think Dr. Romero's right with his prediction on the upcoming elections. We will keep the House and gain 5 to 6 seats in the Senate, which I have said many times before. Many of these polls are so close in so many races. But what the Democrats are not counting on is that silent majority who are not being polled, but will come out and force to vote for the conservatives. The polls are wrong once again, and the Dems are going to suffer the defeats on November 6th. The blue wall will turn into a blue flush, just like the Tidy Bowl commercial.
Well, speaking of which, I don't even think Paulette Jordan has a YouTube channel. I'm sitting here trying to find it. I did find her commercial. Let's take a listen. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
All across our state, and I've heard your voices, your struggles, and your concerns. As governor, I will ensure a state house that represents every Idahoan. We will invest in our children and their future. We will pass Proposition 2 to expand Medicaid. We will put people above corporations, and we will protect our public lands for the benefit of every Idahoan. I hear you, Idaho. I'm Paulette Jordan, and I am ready to be your next governor. Let's do this together.
And so primarily in the ad, you have mostly women, mostly minorities. And I guess that's code. I love this, that she's going, as someone pointed out earlier, I think it was Steve, that she's going to pass Prop 2. Well, no, that's on the ballot. You're not going to do anything. In fact, if she's elected, she won't do anything because your friends, the Republicans, your close friends in both houses, they won't let her do anything. I mean,
the only thing Paulette Jordan is going to pass is a lot more gas. You know, she's absolutely no chance of winning this election or any future elections in Idaho.
How about Van Jones? How about Van Jones saying cowboys and Indians? Now, if I said cowboys and Indians, he said it right in front of her and she let it go. Isn't that insensitive?
Listen, I'm surprised he didn't say cigar store Indian. I mean, why not use that?
No.
Well, I mean, you know, hey, these guys are going a little wacky. Look, she's a pitiful candidate. She hasn't got a clue on any of the real issues. And I think this will be the last time we hear about her running for any state constitutional
I think we're
law.
going to see her on the big networks. That's what I see. I think that's what this audition
maybe
is.
Maybe she's looking for a job with CNN or NBC. Who knows? That could be her end.
Maybe she's looking for a job with you.
Not a chance with me. Don't care about any of these libs. You know, I believe this is going to be a great year for Republicans as we're going to confirm Trump's mandate, which we voted for in 2016. We're going to reinforce our positions in both the House and the Senate. And I don't care who they run against Trump in 2020. I don't think they're going to have a chance of winning. So I see a lot of good things happening. I see the people are going to be out there. The voting already is so high down here. I mean, that's just in Idaho, but I believe we're going to see a huge outpouring of conservatives in this November 6th ballot. We'll see what happens.
Tea Party Bob, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Robert in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, my brother from a long-lost another mother. Well, let's just get to two facts here. One going on. I hate to I love the word Trump, but hate to Trump the Sunday Fest. But I'd like to give a shout out, if I could, to something going on this weekend on Sunday the 4th, starting at 8 a.m. to noon.
Now wait a minute. You did not ask permission for the Plug Fest.
Well, can I always get permission from you, my brother?
Well, since you put it that way, I mean.
Bless your little heart.
I know where you're going with this, and certainly this is an event, and we want to thank the folks at the Warhawk Museum for what they do to preserve that Greg legacy. And I don't mean to steal your plug, so go ahead.
Oh, no, not at all. Absolutely. God bless Mother Paul and John Paul down there, the Paul family at the Warhawk Museum. It's $6 to get in for normals, $3 for military, and I think it's $4 for kids, possibly. No, it's going to be the 100-year anniversary, which it's not obviously not coming up to something that's huge to my heart, is the World War I. I'm a huge Baron von Richthofen fan. And, they're going to celebrate, same as the parade on Saturday. Downtown Boise is going to be the 100-year anniversary of the ending of World War I.
I took some photos of his plane at the National Air and Space Museum. I need to get those online so you can check them out.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm a lifelong fan of the Baron. And that gets me to something else. People are like, oh, these Germans, these Nazis. I'm like, well, let me get to my two parts of my family. One side of my family fled the Reich. That's right, my German Jewish heritage, and my other side that gets to our beloved little princess in Idaho, well, no, that's right, she has no chance. That's Polly Thornton. My family dates back 4, 5, 10, 15,000 years. On the other side of my family in the south, that's right, the Indian nation of the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Osage Indians. So on my part, I believe that I definitely have enough Indian blood to criticize her, and I find it very offensive. Most of my family, when they say Native Americans, I'm like, I wasn't born with a bone in my nose, jump around saying goody goo goo and look like something off a King Kong movie. I'm Indian. We all like the word. So let's get to her. Why is it, Paulette, that you tout the virtues of the Idaho NEA and all that when your children, very true, both of her children, go to very palatial, funded by her, private schools in Spokane, Washington? Are Idaho schools not good enough for you? You want to be the governor. How are you going to play that one out?
Robert, thank you. Robert, thank you for the call.
Bless your heart. Take care, my brother. See you later.
All right. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Kevin Miller in the morning. Miller's Mission, our friend Kent Goldthorpe, ACHD commissioner and the big executive director of the Air Quality Board of Ada County. That's quite a prestigious title. Emailed me and said, Kevin, can we still bring turkeys to Miller's Mission November 12th through the 17th at the Nampa Walmart on Garrity and Franklin? I said, yes, Kent, you can always bring a turkey. And remember, it's better to be a turkey, or I'm sorry, I was going to be a turkey than bring a turkey. The dyslexia is kicking in today. It's always better to bring a turkey than to be a turkey. There's only one turkey on this relationship. That would be me, the voice of credibility, Jared Halpern, joining us from Fox News Radio live right there on Capitol Hill with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Jared, good morning.
I've been called a turkey before. It's fine.
I'm sure you've been called a lot of things.
Yeah, much worse than turkey, sure.
So here we have it, the independent prosecutor, independent counsel, the special counsel.
Special counsel, yeah.
Thank you, is blipping a little. A lot of folks are wondering what's going on with him. Why have we heard anything from him?
Well, I would caution and say, one, by and large, the Mueller team has been pretty leak-proof. There's not been a lot that is leaked out about what exactly is happening. Now, we do think that there are still negotiations going on between the Mueller team and the president's legal team over what sort of question and answer session may happen, whether or not there'll be written questions, whether or not it'll be something more similar to maybe what President Clinton did. during that investigation that led to the impeachment. There's also this, and remember, this was what got, in part, FBI Director James Comey in trouble, which is trying not to say too much about federal investigations that involve politicians so close to an election. And you'll remember that Comey, right before the 2016 election, announced that he had reopened the Hillary Clinton email investigation because of emails found on former Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop, and then a couple days later said, never mind, they weren't relevant. Democrats were furious, if you recall, that this had happened. It brought that scandal that had been closed back at the forefront just days before the election, and there was criticism at the time that that's not really FBI protocol. That the standard of making a public statement so close to an election had not been met. So that may be part of what you're seeing as well, with everything maybe just staying a little cool until after the midterm election.
Well, you wonder what's going to happen after the midterm elections. Are we going to have anything before the holidays?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knows those answers for sure, because as we said, the Mueller team has been pretty tight-lipped. Now, we do know that there have been indictments, there's been guilty pleas, there's been a guilty verdict. So it's not as if this is going away, but I do think that at a certain point, it'll reach the point where either they talk to the president or they don't, and there will be a report. And it'll be interesting to see how that's handled, because I believe that all that has to happen is that report is handed to Rod Rosenstein, who's the Deputy Attorney General, who, of course, is overseeing this because the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, recused himself. And then we'll see, how that goes forward, what the makeup of the House of Representatives looks like at that time, and what questions are going to be answered in some sort of investigation.
Isn't that what we all want, is just answers?
Well, sure. I think we've seen through this process, though, that answers mean different things to different people depending on their political biases leading into the question.
Jared, we always appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
All right, Jared Halpern joining us, Fox News Radio. And let's get to Jim in Middleton with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Hey, I wanted to weigh in that last gentleman, the good news fella. I think he's about spot on. And, I wanted to add that, Trump continues to show how inept and watered down the Republicans have been over the years, and how they've lied to us, fooled us, with their campaign promises, the stance on the Republican Party, and so forth. And now we see so many of them not running, which I'm so happy, okay, because like he said, they don't feel comfortable there, they're irrelevant and so forth. And it's a shame that this party, Kevin, for so many years that stood on patriotic principles, constitutional principles, and conservative principles, and never really fought hard for them. And in 2 years, look what this man has done. And I'm just so happy and proud of this man, and so disgusted with the Republican Party. And I hope some of them are listening to this. They're phony and a waste of time and self-serving. But anyway, so I concur with Tea Party Bob and the other gentleman. I think we're going to have a nice little surprise again on November 6th.
Fair enough, Jim. Don't be a stranger.
Kevin, I listen regularly, and my timing is a little off sometime to call you, but listen, just know this. The two most important parts of my body are working all the time. That's my ears, and I enjoy your show, and there's a ton of other people that do too. So thanks a lot. We'll see you at Garrity here shortly.
All right, Jim, thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jim referring to Miller's Mission. A few things going on, by the way. We are partnering with Christian radio station KTSY to promote well, turkey bucks with the Boise Rescue Mission. So you go into any Walmart, at the end, the teller, the checkout lady should say, "Hey, do you want to give turkeys?" And it's basically a piece of paper shaped like a turkey. It'll have KIDO Talk Radio on it, and their stations, KTSY and another station, and you pay $20, $10, or whatever, and they get a gift card that will be given to for our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission. Now, we'll be living at the Walmart from November 12th through the 17th, collecting turkeys and sharing stories. It's really almost a sabbatical for us because the show doesn't end at 9. It literally goes until 6 or 7 at night, thanks to Camping World, Team Mazda, Subaru, and our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission, the Walmart, Garrity, and Franklin for allowing us to be there. A few things we are talking about. Why? Because after Tuesday, we'll say whatever happened to Paulette Jordan, but this from CNN. This is Van Jones. A few issues I want to cover.
What about you? You're out there bringing cowboys and Indians together. I've never seen anything like it. Why do you think you have a shot to win in Blood Red, Idaho?
Now, before we get to this, can you imagine some lefty, Media Matters, or whomever else would like to get rid of Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck or Kevin Miller? And in America today, I don't believe a conservative can say cowboys and Indians. Van Jones can say cowboys and Indians. If you said that to Paulette Jordan, if I said that to Paulette Jordan, people would say that's racist and that's offensive. That goes back. I mean, you have people wanting to ban cowboys. Remember the faculty at the University of Wyoming? They want to get rid of cowboys because cowboys are offensive. Don't say that around the rodeo, that's for sure. Certainly not the Snake River Stampede. But one more time, just the hypocrisy of the media. It would be one thing if the politically correct went both ways, but it doesn't. It's one-sided. One time more with Van Jones.
You're out there bringing cowboys and Indians together. I've never seen anything like it. Why do you think you have a shot to win in Blood Red, Idaho?
You know, Van.
By the way, I don't think Van Jones has ever been to Idaho. Maybe we should invite him here. Blood Red, Idaho, the reddest of the red. Saddle up, partner.
I was raised by Idaho, so people understand my heritage, my legacy of leadership. They want something new that's fresh, progressive, and bold.
Right. Do you want something new, fresh, progressive, and bold?
My progressive ideas matched with my conservative architectural framework really.
How does that work? Progressive and conservatism working together. What is that, a milkshake?
Attracts people on both sides of the aisle, so they're seeing a kind of leadership that no one's ever seen or heard of, and we're bringing all parties together.
Right. What do you think? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. By the way, thanks to Stephen Meridian. He saw this first.
I have traveled all across our state, and I've heard your voices, your struggles, and your concerns. As governor, I will ensure a state house that represents every Idahoan. We will invest in our children and their future. We will pass Proposition 2 to expand Medicaid. We will put people above corporations, and we will protect our public lands for the benefit of every Idahoan. I hear you, Idaho. I'm Paulette Jordan, and I am ready to be your next governor. Let's do this together.
Right, there we have it. Of course, this ad is too little, too late, if you will, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, when you think about it. Brad Little's had these ads and such. I just think that it's going nowhere. Then why are you talking about it? I think it's fascinating when you have the national media parachuting in, trying to get a story rolling, right? You look at The Guardian, you look at CNN, this is a big deal. You look at and you listen to how friendly she is with the national media as opposed to the local media. It's a very different world. This campaign, in my opinion, is not about Idaho, but Paulette Jordan's campaign is about her. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you, Ray Amaya. Blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Before we get rolling here, we've played a lot of, the folks that don't want you to vote Republican. Here's something I found on Instagram that I want to share with you. It's from our friend Kimberly Guilfoyle and Donald Trump Jr.
I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle. Against all odds, we fought together to take our country back, and we won. Under President Trump's leadership, our economy is booming. Our nation is safer. We are making America great again. But now the radical left is on the march. We must stop them. for your family, for our president, for America. I need every one of you to take a stand, get to the polls, and vote Republican this November 6th.
Man, that is so powerful, isn't it? We could go on and on and on, and I'll see if I can find that ad with her and Donald Trump Jr. But before that, and we talked about this last hour, one of the great things that we do here, and it's through the hard work of Ray Amaya, is that we podcast our show on YouTube, which is very easy. You can use it on your phone. It's free, that sort of thing. And last hour, I promised that we would talk about something very dangerous. And then you took over the program, and that's attention to detail. And as a conservative, as somebody who's a big fan of limited government, it's very rare for me to advocate for a new law. No, it isn't. Yeah, I know Pat from Middleton. No, it isn't. He's Liberal Kevin again. Liberal Kevin's coming back. But whether you're young or old, and I will admit that I do this sometimes as well, and it's something that is not good. In fact, I had a little experiment yesterday. I had a day without my phone. It wasn't my choice. I left it in the laundry room. Thank you, Mrs. Miller, for getting it to me. But I had the whole day without it. I felt lost in my car while I'm driving. I go, my gosh, this thing is like a Borg. Wait for another 5 or 10 years when artificial intelligence really is artificially intelligent, and we'll all of a sudden be like their version of animals because we're so programmed to this. The endorphins react to the electrodes. But it has to stop. I'm in my car, and maybe you see it sometimes. It has my picture on it. Team Mazda Subaru, promoting our schools, securing our future. Promoting what we do here, community in the Treasure Valley. So yesterday I'm on Chinden. You notice I travel on Chinden a lot. And I look over and there's a person next to me looking down. I don't think they're looking at their belly. They're looking at their phone. Another person in front who's got a standard, which means it's a stick, they're looking down, shifting gears while on their phone on a two-way street. We are so blessed with our health. We are so blessed with our families. We're so blessed to live in this isolated igloo until something happens. Somebody gets sick. Something goes wrong in your house. Like our friends at Diamond Heating and Air took care of me. Thank you. Appreciate them. Tragedies happen too much, but to all of a sudden increase the probability of a fatality, a death, or something of that matter because we're on our stupid phones. And yes, they are stupid. A phone can't build a house. A phone can't be your best friend. You know, a lot of people, maybe you watch the shows. No, you're busy living your life. I watch the shows for you. There's a show that shows people working in a big luxury yacht, right? And they have these guests on, and instead of enjoying Tahiti, which most of us will never go except watching it on the TV, these guys are shooting selfies. And it's too bad that in the gubernatorial primary, in the general election, that we didn't talk about something that I think the state of Nevada and the state of Oregon have over us. No, it's not smoking dope. No, it's not legalized prostitution. No, it's not legalized gambling. But it's a tough hands-free law. And, you know, you go to Oregon, you're seen on your phone or you're seen texting, boom. And we have laws, but the penalties apparently aren't that good enough. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago, where we tried to get the texting law in, and we did, but we didn't. And then we argued, well, we already have distracted driving. Everybody is distracted while they're driving, right? It seems that way to me. And those of you, it seems recently, that have taken the road less traveled, that your parents, responsible parents, loving parents, you look into the eyes of your children, no matter how old, no matter how young or how old, they'll always be your kids, and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Something has to be done about this texting situation. You're seen texting and driving, it's a $500 fine. Second offense, $1,000. No ifs, ands, or buts. Because apparently the carrot isn't working in Idaho. Traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.
It's Eric Everett.
I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle.
And I'm Donald Trump Jr.
The mainstream media and the liberal mob are working hard to stop President Trump.
But we know that every day, my father, our president, is fighting to keep his promise to the American people. And that's why we need you to fight for him.
This November 6th, we need every patriot to get to the polls.
Let your voice be heard loud and clear.
Vote Republican.
Because together, we will keep making America great.
And there we have it. We found it from the For America Pact for Donald Trump. Donald Trump Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle, always appreciate that. Look, regardless of who you vote for, whether you agree or disagree with all of us here, you got to vote. But more importantly, we've got to take care of one another. That's up to the legislature. Maybe it goes to even local cities and municipalities when it comes to this texting and driving situation that we've got to get a handle on. Kevin Miller wishing you a good day. God bless. Ray Maya, great job as always. Glenn Beck is next. Keep the faith, everyone.